I won't do that throughout, don't worry. I won't. I'm going to do two things. I'm just going to tweet out that I'm streaming. And then I'm going to go grab a cup of tea. Which I probably shouldn't because sort of it's against my keto diet, but I sort of want one. So, right. I'm going to go grab a cup of tea. And then we'll be live. And you'll be like, oh, BoredGamer, you're so good at streaming. Woo! That was a spaceship flying past. 1 second. Here, sort of like to ask a question during the live stream, please. Question in brackets. I'm not sure why I made that sound. Oh. Let us. Can I restore chat? I can restore chat. Fantastic. Test, 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 test. Test. Hello. Test. Good, good. That should work fine. Perfect. Got my tea. I'm beautiful. Oh, I haven't set up my camera properly. Is that going to be an issue? Let's have a look. How does it look? Oh, I look a bit whiter than normal. Do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Do some of that. Let's remove this and do this. Oh. Maybe that was good. Maybe we'll leave that setting on. Is that good? Do I look beautiful? Am I a beautiful egg boy? Hi. Hope everyone's good. Let me then do that and then do this. Easy. Chris, you right? Yes, I'm alright. No. Yes, I'm alright. Yeah, no. I think I feel like I'm destroying the magic. There's the Chris Roberts head behind us. Hi. So Zin is currently editing a video on server meshing. And then she's going to be doing some... She might turn up during the stream. And then she's going to be doing some videos on Ninetales and 3.13 lore-based stuff. So that's sort of stuff that's separate to my normal instructions for her. She has a... one of her instructions from me is... Go out and make lore videos on certain things, sort of whatever you fancy, and I give her some suggestions. Can people stream PTU? Not yet. So it's currently still with the Evocati. But once it goes to first wave PTU, we're freely allowed to make content, you're allowed to stream it, all that sort of stuff. And we're expecting first wave PTU. I'm expecting first wave PTU potentially Thursday, Friday. It is just going to be based on whether or not the Evocati is ready to go to first wave PTU, which is, I think, highly likely, but that's not a confirmation. Today I learned people don't know the difference between Evocati and PTU. Well, so Evocati is one of the phases of the PTU. Okay, so it's the Evocati phase, then first wave PTU, which goes to subscribers and concierge along with Evocati, and then it goes to wider phases of the PTU, more and more people, and then it's open PTU, and then it's live. So Evocati is technically a phase of that, and you can see that by here on the newsletter, for example. It lists PTU version 3.13.0, PTU test group, Evocati. So at least internally, Cloud Imperium would define it as such. So in the background, we've got some Squadron 42 vertical slice gameplay. Yeah, so Evo Wave is Wave 0. That sounds reasonable. I mean, it's all sort of irrelevant, isn't it? It is what it is. I mean, I hate people saying that, but it's true. If you'd like to ask a question during the stream at all, just question in brackets in the comments or whatever. I'll try and fish it out as we're chatting. You don't need to donate or anything. Even though it's my birthday on the end of the week, and mine and Zin's birthdays. So Zin's birthday is a day before mine, and she's a year and a day older than me. How good's that? I have not turned off my let me get rid of my emails so they don't keep on binging throughout. Yeah, so I'm thinking 3.13.0 first wave PTU later this week. That'd be my expectation, but again, not a confirmation. We had a few things this week, or that are going on this week. So we've got Patch Watch tomorrow, and lots of other roadmap updates. So Patch Watch is sort of like them looking at things that are coming up real soon, or they're working on at the moment, but aren't really shown off in roadmap updates, or like on the roadmap. So it's like more minor things typically. But it can be other features. And then we've obviously got the fortnightly roadmap update, which will be useful. I'm telling us a load around stuff. And then Inside Star Citizen this week. What is Inside Star Citizen this week looking at? The reputation system. And then it's going to be followed by a patch report. So lots of patch things. Friday, got Jump Points magazine, and a Star Citizen Live episode, which I'm not sure what's actually going to be on yet, although it's probably going to be on 3.13 in general, be my expectation. We'll wait and see. Yeah, so an interesting week. If 3.13 goes to first wave PTU, great. It's possible that this week's Inside Star Citizen will be the last until the end of April, because if it is, it will either be this week's or next week's, almost certainly. Because basically they like to have like a 3-week break when a new patch goes live or is about to go live. So bear that in mind. Do we have anything else I want to preface the episode with? There's also quite cool stuff in 3.13. There's obviously been the Theatres of War tests as well recently. Theatres of War is not a 3.13 feature. So for people that are like, yeah, 3.13 is going to be testing Theatres of War. Yeah, for the Evocati, and probably some more tests with 3.13, 3.14. It's possible that we'll start seeing wider Evocati, wider PTU testing, or wider testing in general for Theatres of War in the 3.14 cycle, but that's sort of a maybe. Oh, thanks for the love. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. Stars. How are you so beautiful? That's just the way I am. I think what it is that you just got to work with what you've got, and obviously I got a lot to work with. Thanks. Jesus. So, yeah, there was a couple of little articles that I saw, little posts on the Spectrum about server meshing and stuff, just saying that server meshing is being worked on at the moment. Some of the features and optimizations you're getting are with server meshing in mind, and lots of back-end stuff's being done for server meshing that you might not notice, but it is being put into game to some extent. But you should notice when it goes to the first true iteration of server meshing, you should then start to notice stuff. And ships will be able to move from one server to the next with the first iteration, and it will have a lot of functionality for what they need. But it's going to be a while before a full server meshing's in, full dynamic server meshing, for sure. There's a bike going past my house, which you might be able to hear. Sounds like a speedboat. What are the other things we had recently? So there was that trashy Kotaku article about staff being made to work in a snowstorm, or implied that they had to work in a snowstorm, or they had to use paid time off or something, which I think has largely been debunked now, even by Star Citizen detractors, and just going, doesn't seem... This is a bit of a nothing article. It kind of genuinely was, in my opinion. And we had FireSprite, who are a studio. There's 10 people from FireSprite, a strike team from FireSprite, helping CIG make Theatres of War and constantly helping develop it, which is probably good for Theatres of War, assuming that everything goes well and there's no major problems there. The Theatres of War playtests were last weekend as well, weekend gone, and they are NDA'd, but I will say that they were enjoyable. There's certainly been some changes and improvements since the last tests and that sort of stuff, and once they're ready to go out to a wider group, they will, but I would expect another round of testing, most likely, with Evocati before that. Yeah, for FireSprite, group of 10 of them are working with Cloud Imperium and a Cloud Imperium team as well, that's working on it, like with Sean Tracy and that sort of person, peoples. But yeah, a lot of people don't like outsourced labour when it comes to Cloud Imperium, because they remember issues of the past, especially with Cloud Imperium trying to bring everything in-house and then going back to the sort of, why are they outsourcing this? Surely an in-house team will be better, but maybe they wouldn't. Maybe the FireSprite team is perfect for them. I may have been working with them since 2019 when Theatres of War was announced, so yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Theatres of War, because it's something that I can play on stream pretty easily while talking and not have to think about so much while playing. It doesn't matter what I do and how I do it. It's pretty simplistic. It's do the objectives. Cool. I'm up for that. I'm up for doing a later gameplay of that, getting people in game, playing a lot more. Makes sense. It's obviously going to be pretty polished compared to Star Citizen. Right. Now let's have a look at some of these questions. How do you think Theatres of War will compare to Armour King of the Hill? I haven't played Armour King of the Hill. I think it's going to be... When I played it at CitizenCon 2019, I would have said it was very similar to sort of Battlefield objective-based missions. To Battlefield 4, Battlefield 5... Battlefield 4 I'm thinking of? Battlefield 5? One of them. Objective-based gameplay. Sort of push and pull. You're assaulting and defending. Very Battlefield-like. With the arrival of Salvage, do you think there'll be more than beam gameplay, and Chris Roberts actually will deliver a game? What? So, Salvage, for what we're getting this year on Salvage, at least the first iteration of Salvage that's coming this year, is going to be hand-based Salvage. Or at least this is what we've been told so far. So, Salvage/repair tool. You've got a salvage repair tool. It will be able to strip hulls of ships. Thank you very much, Tumbril Nova. Appreciate the sub from a Tonk sub. Appreciate it, Star. Thank you. It will suck the hulls off ships, the outer hulls, and then you can use that to repair a ship as well. Now, I suspect those canisters will have value once you've sucked up resources. Could we, at the same time or thereabouts or soon after, also have like the Vulture in game doing hull stripping as well? Possibly. I do think it was going to follow the same sort of not timeline, the same sort of steps that mining did in game. So they'll focus quite heavily on getting that salvage gameplay loop into a relatively polished state by adding more and more and more and more of it. So I'm hoping that we get ships having some functionality for salvage at the same time. I'm hoping that we get the ability to remove components around the same time as well. But from what we've been told, it's a salvage tool. It's going to strip hulls. Also going to be able to be used for repair. Do I think that Chris Roberts is going to actually deliver a game? I think him and Cloud Imperium are going to, yes. They obviously have a playable alpha now, and you can argue a lot whether or not that's actually a fun or playable game at the moment. I think it is. I enjoy it, but much more as a tourist than as a sit down and play. Theatres of War, for example, is something I would play and grind for a long time on, because it's nice and closed loop and it's polished, or at least that's the plan for it. It's going to be a while. It's going to be like a while before we get a actual fully complete game out of Cloud Imperium. Squadron 42 should be the first thing to come out the gates there, and not before 2022, basically, for that. So, Retaliator modules by this summer. So, Retaliator is getting its modular gameplay. Is it 3.14 currently planned? When are we getting modular gunplay? I can't remember when the modularity for ships is supposed to be coming. I say for ships, it is for the Retaliator to start with. And I can't find it on the roadmap either. Oh, it's in 3.14. So it is in 3.14. It's in Core Tech. That's why I couldn't find it. And enabling players to swap vehicle rooms and modules via the Vehicle Manager app. So this is what modularity is. You're going to be able to switch large rooms and large portions of ships in the same way that you can switch components. And that's starting with the Retaliator. And then I'm hoping that then goes to, in the not too distant future, the Caterpillar and ships like that as well. Obviously, hugely modular ships that their gameplay is based on being modular. The Retaliator, though, we do know, other than its torpedo bays, is supposed to have cargo bays, living areas, and a drop ship / drop pod module. It's going to be as gold standard as it can be. Why keep the FireSprite thing secret for 3 years? That's a good question. Why not announce it earlier? I don't know. Is there a reason that they don't announce stuff immediately? Maybe they've got NDAs or contracts with the studio. Maybe they like to play their cards close to their chest. I don't know. It's something that's probably worth asking Cloud Imperium at some point. I don't even you'd know of it, but was there a test mass player game that came out in 2010 on the PS3 called Mag? But there was. It hosted up to 256 players, surprisingly well. Okay, that sounds cool. Do you think they will rework the Starfarer so the cockpit will make more sense vision-wise? I think there might be some tweaks, but I wouldn't expect a whole revamp. I started playing after the Perseus sale. When usually such ships are available on sale again? Any specific event? So, things like the Perseus and general ship sales. There's the Fleet Week sale at the end of May. So as part of the 3.13 cycle, end of May, you'll have Fleet Week. It should be on sale then. It's typically combat ships and military ships, but obviously the Perseus very much fits within that category. But it's not just them, it's ones that support them as well. And then in November, end of November, we have the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is almost every ship on sale again. But they also sell them during the year for various reasons. Following up on salvage again, has there been any hints regarding how salvage ships might function? Example, would they be large versions of hand salvage tool? So there's various types of salvaging in-game. There's hull stripping, which will function very similarly to the hand salvage tool. Yeah, but you're also going to be able to do hand salvage-wise or cutter-wise, be able to remove components and weapons and bring them back on board your ship as well, which is sort of salvage too. But yeah, so hand salvage, hull stripping is one of the types that ships will be able to do. And then there's more salvage, which is literally breaking sections of the ship apart and then gobbling them up, crushing them down and turning them into cubes. Yeah, so that's more hull-based, sort of all the materials, more materials. That's basically what the Reclaimer does. Sort of rips and tears, pulls salvage into its mouth, crushes it into cubes. There's also siphoning, which is sort of liquids and gases, sucking them out. That could be similar to how gas mining and harvesting is done as well. So maybe the Starfarer is technically also a siphoning salvage ship. Maybe. Yeah, those are the sort of main types of salvage. I don't think there's another one. Maybe there is that I've just forgotten. But the ships do them differently, if you see what I mean. So the Vulture, very much hull stripping, and the Reclaimer, very much more salvage. As in more. I'm gaping more. Where is the compass? We don't have one. We will have one. Well, we'll have some ways of navigating. They've talked about having compasses or ways of navigating on the on ships and on vehicles. So you will have coordinates or something like that in the future. So what's the deal with the eyes again? So there's they talked about eyes recently on Patchwatch. So let me show you this stuff. So basically, they've updated the eyes for 3.13. So you've got some couple of different new versions of eyes, and then some new irises for deeper variation. That's basically what they said. And then obviously the pens, so Oxy and Medipens, have been made into actual usables. So it's not just you press a button, it uses it. Psh, now you actually take them out, and they have multiple functions. You could just throw them at someone else, and they could pick them up and use them. Yeah, so it's a part of making them properly physicalized and being able to use them on other people and stuff like that as well. Boop. What else have we got here? Did you have to pick the tea leaves? No, it takes me a while to brew my tea, admittedly. What's the best 40k chapter? So, I like Adaptus, I mean, obviously not chapters. I like Adaptus Mechanicus at the moment. I'm doing a cavalry army. I started making it, but there's going to be a new Adaptus Mechanicus book coming out, so before I finish them, before I finish building them, and the army, I'll wait until the new book comes out. What's the best chapter? I mean, I quite like Ultramarines. Call me old-fashioned. Nice balanced doctrine. I've done Death Guard before, pre-heresy. Very excited for the new asteroids. Do you know if they will be in the Iron Halo as well? Yes. I mean, that's one of their major uses, to build out the Iron Halo. Do you actually think the Xenothreat event took that much time so that some of 3.13's features got delayed because of that? I mean, not really. I mean, 3.13's done pretty well. Like, stuff hasn't moved off too much from that. So, Star Citizen at the moment is very much a tourist sort of game, in my opinion. It is significantly better than if you had played it like a year ago or before. The performance is fantastic compared to what it used to be. Stability is pretty good. I mean, it's still very much an alpha game. It's still frustrating, but it's very pretty. There's some cool stuff to do. Is it going to be thousands of hours of gameplay with reasons to do it? No, not really, unless you're playing with an org. If you're playing with an organisation, then you can have hundreds of hours of fun easily. If you're with the right org, because they'll organise stuff, you can do lots of fun things. They are planning to do sort of major dynamic events like Xenothreat as well, which are worth playing because they're pretty unique events, and you're not going to be able to play them again in the same way in the future. And sort of like events for the playable alpha, and they're going to change and evolve over time and be different in the future. So it's worth playing some of these for sure. More reasons to play. But get an org, join an organisation, play with them. Do you think we'll see the Idris as player flyable before or after Squadron 42? They could certainly do it before Squadron 42 if they wanted. I think that they'll probably time it around the same sort of time. That would be my expectation at the moment. Will 3.13 be released this week or next? It's not going to be released to live this week. At the best, we'll get first wave PTU this week. Bear with me 1 second. I cannot see shit. I'm going to go grab my glasses. I'll put fire as well. There we go. Maybe I can read better now. Oh no, still pretty bad, my eyesight. It's got blurry vision. Oh well. What else we got? Are the Idris and Javelin expected to grow and shrink in size or stay the same? Probably stay the same. Like they're pretty locked down. When can we expect 3.13? We talked about that a second ago. Do you think with the medical gameplay starting to roll out, the Apollo will get finished? Well, we'll get finished at some point, but it's not going to be finished, in my opinion, this year. There's a question about Theatres of War, which I won't be able to answer because I can't talk about the specifics of Evocati for Theatres of War. When do you think Theatres of War will be out? I think middle of next year is sort of like a reasonable target, I would think. Depends on a lot of stuff, though. I mean, that could be vastly optimistic, maybe. I would expect... I'm expecting to see wider playtests beyond just Evocati during the 3.14 cycle. So, after June. Between June and September. Question, Bored, when do the regular Star Citizen get to making their ships? I'm so confused. I'm so confused by that question. I'm doing well, thank you very much. It's my birthday at the end of the week. And I appreciate all the kind words and messages, even though it's not my birthday yet. We've decided that any donations in the next couple of weeks will go to me and Sin eating delicious food and drinking. So there might be a bit of disruption to the end of the week as well, because I'm giving Sin a couple of days off, and I might take a day off. But if 3.13 goes to first wave PTU, then I'll be doing some stuff for it, even if I'm sort of chilling. I mean, I don't ever really take a day off. Oh, what names have you given to your ships? I'm not going to reveal the names of some of my ships yet, because I haven't got all of them. There's a particular name that I've given to them that I want all of them to have, and I haven't got all of them yet. So I've called my reclaimer at the moment Recycle, but I will be getting people, getting the chat. I'll be getting the channel subs to name my ships in the future. Tonk. I'll be getting the Tonk the moment we have 3.13. Okay. I don't know for sure. That's the honest answer. We don't 100% know what features of 3.13 that are supposed to be there will be going with the initial 3.13.0 release. So bear that in mind. Tumbrel Nova has just given away 1 billion subs. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me finish this question. There's people giving money. Everyone's been given subs. You monster. Who are you, Tumbrel Nova? You tonk monster. Thank you so much. But I will thank you again in a second. So, we know that the Hercules Starlifter, the C2 and M2, are planned for a 3.13.x patch. So not with 3.13 initial. So not when it goes live. They'll be a little bit later. I say a little bit later. Sometime between April and June. Yeah? So, we don't know exactly when, though. Could the Tonk be part of that? Yes. Could the Tonk also be in 3.13 initial? Yes. Don't 100% know yet. Hagshack, first drinks on me. Thank you very much. I appreciate your money. Namaste. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I am. And Tumble Nova, just how many did you give? Oh my god. 25 tier 1 subs. I'm very sorry for everyone that's been forcibly subbed to my channel. You'll just have to deal with it. Sailor 67, Reese, Defrude, Pusun, 40 BC, Pompano 420, Iridan, Jamal, Dexterafrethron, McKinney's 76, Clinton Chives, The Investigator, Edward, Shinjordan, Drugar, Lettuce, Raven, Angolas, Cocoa Pink, Chosen, Cointoss, the Chody, nice name, I Am Bot, Varal, and K Winter. Thanks very much for getting subbed. I'm sorry you got caught in the crossfire. Thank you so much, Tumbrel Nova. You are the bestest little tonk. Who's a little good tonky boy? You are. Any news on the Constellation Taurus? Yeah, so the Constellation Taurus is planned to come out in 3.14 at the moment, so the end of June patch. It looks like it is going to come out. We've seen some of the interior that's been reworked. We know that it's got more cargo, it's got missing a turret, and it may have a better cockpit, like a less strutted design or less intrusive strut design, which some of the other constellations may get in the future as well. That's your Constellation Taurus news. Is it finished? It's finished with the sub bomb. Thank you very much. No, it's not. I lied. This is going to go on forever. Do you think someone with minimal crew would be better off with a Polaris or a Perseus? Perseus. Minimal crew, almost certainly the Perseus, because it's going to be easier to run, in my opinion, because you do need a smaller crew for it. The Polaris is going to be quite cool to use as like a home-based ship, and then you can have a ship inside it that you can use off to do missions. So you could potentially run both relatively well with a low crew. Obviously, you're going to be able to have AI blades that can do some of the automated tasks for ships, and you're going to be able to hire NPC crew as well. So there's other options there. I'm a big fan of the Perseus, though. Oof. One day, the subs will end. One day. Oh, you monster. Is CIG ever going to update the character rig? It seems like a janky at times. So, they do update the character rig, and there's lots of character rig updates and improvements that they've been making and plan to implement. The thing with the jankiness of the character rigs is a mixture of prediction problems, network problems, and animation issues, but they've introduced an artificial amount of time to try and smooth animations, which then screws around with networking and prediction stuff. So they are able to fix it to some extent, but every time they do, it gets broken, it seems, in the next patch. They will, at some point, properly sort it out and solve it, but it might be something that they wait a little bit longer before they actually fully solve. I suspect you'll see in Theatres of War it working a lot better before you see it working really well in the Persistent Universe, for example. Are you playing on the PTU? So that's this is the Squadron 42 vertical slice from 2018. Hey Bored, I'm a new subscriber and I want to thank you for all the awesome content. Seriously, thank you. I'm loving this channel. Oh, thank you very much, Christopher Johnson. I appreciate the love. With the cutting tool of salvage, it sounded like we could also use it to repair ships. So, okay, the cutting tool is not the salvage tool. You might be able to use the cutting tool to cut away in the future weapons and components and open up vents and grates, but it's not a salvage tool. The salvage tool is a salvage repair tool. That's the one they've talked about, that you can use, and that literally strips hulls, and then you can use that hull strippings in a canister to repair. How do we repair? Does it repair the surface of hulls? Probably. Could use it to repair components? Don't know. Red Fox, thank you so much. Last drinks on me. I appreciate the New Zealand dollar. Oh, you star. Cheers, sir. It's a lot of New Zealand dollars. I'm not sure how much they're worth. Probably a lot more than the pound at the moment. That's a joke at my currency, which used to be the strongest in the world. Oh, a phone call. Hello? Put me on hold. There's some music going on. I don't know if you can hear that. What? Give him a couple of seconds before I hang up. One second, I just want to see who that was. Because, so, what happened there is that I got a call, and then it went straight onto a holding with music. But I just want to see who that was. Recent. How weird and how rude. So let's see who that was. Who is that? Who called me? So it's I've made some inquiries about getting office space in the future, and it appears to be they're quite scammy or something. Not scammy, spammy. One of the office companies. Okay, just an office. How rude, though, to phone me and immediately put me on hold. That's dumb. How dumb is that? Why waste space inside the Perseus by making the beds single stack and not bunk beds? You could possibly add a med bay to the Perseus if this was changed. Okay, yes, you probably could. However, they specifically don't want the Perseus to have a med bay because they don't want all ships to be able to do all functions. And the Perseus is very much a big pew fight ship. Pow pow bang bang. They don't want a ship to be sort of super multi-role, super multi-function, be able to do everything. They need balance in the game, and they need focuses for ships. So you might be going, well, it's a bit dumb, but yeah, it's a game. There might be things that are dumb, because in real life, people try and balance things. They try to make them as effective as possible, but in games, you need to balance things. Don't get spammed. Spam! Why is there so much wasted space in the Perseus? That's what we literally just talked about. Why not use the convertible table from the address? Yeah, so I totally agree with you on a lot of this stuff. So there is wasted space in ships. There's some stuff that's dumb. There's some stuff that has no function but is pretty. But that's part of the point. It's supposed to be immersive, and it is a game. So there are things that, like, why is there a spar main and to jump? Why is there? I mean, what actual function does that have? Well, somewhere to chill. Or the opposite of chill, because it's a sauna. Andrew Hickenbottom. Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen money. Money Citizen. Oh, that big money citizen. I like that. I watch a lot of internet comment etiquettes. Well, as much as anyone else can watch, I suppose. Waiting for new episodes to come out with Eric and his big money stuff. I love his Nord ads. He has the best Nord VPN ads. I wish my ads was even 1% as good as his. Mate, you can ask as many smooth brain questions as you want. You can have the smoothest brain. Do you know if you can hunt hammerheads as bounty missions? If so, any idea how to get these? I've definitely had a bounty mission and fought hammerheads on it. They'll be the top tier, or some of the top tier bounty missions. You just have to do a load of bounty missions until you get them. Make sure you keep on upgrading your bounties. Beep, 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 beep. What the hell were those meteors? So, on Odin 1A, Gainy, the moon here, which is, I suppose, a rogue moon now, because Odin 1 is exploded and become the coil. There's some scrap, lots of like broken bits and asteroids and stuff above the moon, which burn up in the atmosphere very often, and the defense turrets on the base there have to shoot them down sometimes. Did you enjoy seeing Jared wreck that person on Twitch chat in the last Star Citizen Live? Unless it was tangible gameplay information, it wouldn't have gone into my head. Like, I watched Star Citizen Live, and if it's a really engaged one where they're talking loads of questions and answers, I'll detail it down and make script of it. If it's like the last one was a game dev live on Scopes, I zone out for most of it and try and listen when there's tangible information. There wasn't tangible information, so I sort of would have ignored it for the most part. That's sort of just how my brain works. What are your thoughts on not having a new location since 2019? Lol. What? There's new locations in game. Sort of. Can you still make money in mining? Yes. There are issues with mining and there are issues with cargo at the moment, and I would hope that in 3.13 that some of that economy stuff is solved and in a better place. If you had to guess, when we see player caps on servers increase, so it might be something they test with various iCache and server meshing optimizations that are coming throughout the year and next. But when server meshing's in, that's when we'll start to see increased player caps done more readily. Any word on rock breaking or mining animations updated in 3.13? There are some improvements to mining and like new mining UIs and stuff like that. I'm not sure if anything has been announced for new mining animations or updates to rock breaking. Obviously, they are making new asteroids. That's one of the things they're pushing towards. I want to know how players should prepare for 3.13 to lose the least amount of time and effort when it goes live. So remove, okay, I'll make a video on this as well, prepping for 3.13, but you want to remove the items on your character and items on your ships so that they are not on a ship, because often when a patch hits, it sort of refreshes and removes all the components from them and can delete them. So if they're off your character and off your ship, often they get spared that. That's the main thing. But obviously, when you get in the game, or when you get download it, delete your shader folder. But I'll make a proper video on it. There's probably lots of other little bits. Without compromising your NDA, how are you enjoying the Evocati PTU? It's an Evocati patch. I like some of the features of 3.13. I enjoyed the Theaters War tests. I enjoy the Evocati PTUs, even if they're super buggy. But they are typically pretty buggy. Or focused testing is a better way of putting it, because it's not always entirely super buggy, but it is focused tests, and it's not sort of like just mess around. Well, sometimes it can be, but... What size is the main gun on the tank? Is it size 4? I can't remember. Nova tank. I'm literally going to go to Star Citizen Tools. She was size 4, but I don't know. Size 4 ballistic cannon. Yeah, it is size 4. You can tell by the sort of length of the barrel. What do you enjoy most about Star Citizen? The community and the project itself. It's a super interesting project. It's very unique in the way it's done. It's a playable alpha now. It's a cool social experience. The fan events in the community are the best thing in the world for it. I mean, yeah, it just genuinely is. It's an amazing community. Heard we are getting 3 more ships buying options for Alpha UC coming 3.13. Do you know how much those will cost? The Talon, the H2, and the Nomad. No, I don't. I don't know the prices of those. And if I did, they would even potentially be different by the time that went into a live build. So. Your computer requires a new security package and has malware. Oh my god. I do worry about my parents getting scammed. Like as I get older and they get older, I worry much more about them getting scammed. Because they are much more compliant on the phone and on emails and things than I am. Do you think Star Citizen's going to do something for April Fools? Yes. They always do. At some point, they'll make it into a sale, I'm sure. They always do something dumb for April Fools. Some of it's pretty good. I mean, I remember the fish floating around the hangar. That was weird. Thank you for confirming. I love your content and look forward to your AMAs. Cheers. No worries. What's your thoughts on being able to see your helmet like on this video and good old days of the PTU? I kind of hope they show back up for all helmets. What do you mean? I'm very confused. Murky Water, I do disagree with you. There's a reasonable amount coming in 3.13. Yeah, it's not the biggest, most content-heavy patch in the world with a load of new gameplay loops, but it's got a bit in it. There is new stations with the refinery-focused ones. I mean, that is very minor. There's a lot of polish to planets and visuals. There genuinely is. There's new asteroids, which are obviously cool and useful for points of interest. There's lots of cave-based stuff, which there may be gameplay associated with the caves. Potentially, we'll have to wait and see. There's new missions using the Xeno-threat cargo. I mean, again, these are a lot of minor stuff. Lots of updates with the sign distance field stuff now, so that most other ships should have the sign distance field shields and effects. Subcomponents for mining stuff. Yeah, I mean, subcomponents in the game. Lots more sort of depth to mining. The reputation system. So we're having an Inside Star Citizen later this week with some of those UI and reputation updates that they're going to be showing off. But I actually think that's going to bring a lot more gameplay. There's spawn closets, which could allow for a huge amount more gameplay for sure. But mounted guns, yeah, fair enough. Force reactions with staggers, yeah. Vehicle names and serial numbers, cool little extra customization, but it's very minor at this stage, really. Vehicle visual degradation stuff that is cosmetic. Yeah, it's cool, but again, pretty minor, but it's still something. Constellation, Merlin docking, undocking, that's pretty good. I mean, that's something we wanted for ages. Ship to station docking, that's pretty big. Object push and pull and trolleys, something I quite like the idea of it. And then we've got the Hercules Starlifters, the M2 and C2, expected in 3.13.x, and the Tonk, which could be initial or could be an X build. We'll have to wait and see. But the Tonk is pretty exciting for me. I think there could be some cool gameplay-based stuff. I mean, some of the new cave stuff, it is new entrances. You can get your ship and your vehicle in there. So, yeah, some cool stuff, maybe. Maybe not. I mean, you're more than welcome to your opinion, though. And obviously, you're expecting a lot more than is... Well, you're wanting a lot more. You think there should be a lot more. That's probably how I should say it. Don't want to misrepresent you. The Dust Ski. Thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Cheers. Have you seen the Star Citizen Links video on the two-seater rock? Thoughts? They seem to think that there's going to be a dual-seat rock coming out at some point. They said it probably wasn't 3.13. It's probably going to come later. I think that sort of makes sense, having a larger rock that has a reason sort of to carry someone else in, so that you can do some hat mining as a group and do some lasering. Yeah, it sort of makes sense. Like the idea. Any word on when we'll be able to sell items in our inventory? So obviously they're working on local inventories and personal inventory, and they are building the economy and that sort of stuff with that in mind. So I would expect it in the not too distant future, being able to sell stuff like weapons and armor and gear, as well as buy it. But we don't know when. It's probably... I mean, it could be this year. It probably should be this year. How much of an importance the Cloud Imperium put up on it? Do you know what I mean? When do you think the unannounced ships are going to be announced and released? So, obviously, one of them was the Cyclone MT, probably, which is that missile turreted cannon hybrid version, which is just a better TR, in my opinion, and on paper. But you'll see new vehicles and ships most major patches that they don't have announced. So, and sometimes you'll see it in events like Fleet Week, sometimes you'll see it in events like Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Should we start counting the amount of times you know is said on Star Citizen Live? maybe. I appreciate all the love, but I really appreciate your MAs and all the efforts you go to answering these people's questions. And it's content for me. I love talking. When you do the monthly draw, do you notify the winner on YouTube as well, or is it their responsibility to look at the Reddit post? I do it on YouTube, and I do it on Reddit. And I do it in a YouTube video as well. So I message them on YouTube. I comment on their comment, which should give them a notification. I mention it in a YouTube video, and I post it on the Reddit. Who the heck is that guy behind the chair? Well, this is Chris Roberts making sure I don't break NDA. Speculation on the Titan suit and the Merchantman release. Is 2022 too soon? I don't know how far into development the Titan suit is. I just don't know. For multiplayer and the persistent universe anyway. Merchantman-wise, I expect to see the Polaris first. And the earliest I think we'd see the Polaris is sort of mid-2022. Could you see the Merchantman at the end of 2022? It's possible. But I think that might be optimistic. Any thoughts on which capital ship will be added soon? Or will that be after Squadron 42? They certainly could put the Idris in and the Javelin in before Squadron 42's release. But I'm suspecting they sort of released them at around the same time. For hype. We are planning to do more stuff in-game with viewers. And 40.13 will do some events soon. We'll be running at least fortnightly events, which will be used for recording and B-roll, and some of that stuff will be on live stream as well. When server meshing was mentioned, it was split into 2 phases. Phase 1 is in full production. What? So, in the recent little post about it, they talked about research and phase 1 server meshing, but really there's 2 stages of server meshing, okay? Well, 3 stages. The build-up phase, where they're getting iCache and a lot of optimizations in, and they're building server meshing. There's going to be the initial release of server meshing after that, which will have static server meshing. So you'll go, at the moment there's 1 server, yeah, per 50 people or whatever, yeah. But now they'll split the universe into servers for each area. So you'll have a server for around Port Olisar. You'll have a server for Crusader. You'll have a server for around Microtech. You'll have a server for the space around Microtech. Yeah? And they're just static servers which will then seamlessly share data between them, so you won't notice there's servers there. And you can actually have battles between those areas. Yeah? And then there's dynamic server meshing, which is the true and finalized server meshing, which then has server being able to spin up and down based on the population in each object container. So you could have a room as its own server, but then the outside area as its own server, and then the planet as its own area, and each individual ship on that planet as its own server, potentially. So just nested servers that can dynamically spin up and down. And, I suppose, merge into each other. Which we just talked about, do you think we'll get the Vulture once first wave salvage is introduced? Or would ship-based salvage be coming next year instead? We'll have to wait and see. I would expect just the hand salvage as tier 0 salvage, but I do expect them to work on getting more and more salvage stuff in as quickly as possible, like they did with mining. Do you think people will play Theatres of War more regularly than the actual PU? Yes. I think it's going to be a lot more easily accessible. I think a lot of content creators and streamers and orgs will play a lot of it as well. I just think it's going to be easily accessible to play, because it's going to be a lot more polished than Arena Commander and Star Marine for the most part. I think it is going to have a draw to play. I think the Persistent Universe will get played tons as well, but I think Theatres was a lot more mainstream, especially for content creators. Someone like me that wants to play and stream and talk it's so much easier than playing Star Citizen, because I don't have to concentrate. Well, me and Chris be getting married. That's not that I've planned. We're just gonna, see how it goes. No. Well, that's weird. You're weird. What else we got here? What's your favourite ship in game and why? Mercury Starrunner. It's the most complete ship we have in game. It's most tech advanced as well. It's got buttons and switches, and I love the ship. I mean, the ship looks cool. It's got loads of cool little hidey holes and secret doors and things. I love it. Absolutely love it. Ship looks amazing. Do Miles Eckhart's missions end with a hammerhead? I think they do. So the Arlington gang missions, they end with a nitrous fight now. They ended with a hammerhead before, though. I just tuned in, curious about Star Citizen. I haven't kept up with it in a bit. What are we watching here? This is the Squadron 42 vertical slice from 2018. We're expecting this to look a lot better by now. Do you know where you can choose your character's gender? And will your character be voiced? Yeah, so our character obviously does have a voice, because we've got voices in Squadron 42. In the persistent universe, I don't think our character will be voiced. They might make grunts. Maybe they make voice. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. No, it's we are the voice. We're the voice of our characters with VoIP. Yeah. And you can choose your character and the way they look in the character creator. Any idea when Vulkan is going to be a thing? They're building Vulkan integration and the Gen 12 renderer stuff at the moment. So you should see more and more optimizations, and then I'm almost certain this year you'll see the Gen 12 rendering and Vulkan integration. I liked last year's April Fools, the clone sale. Oh yes, that was good. How will they balance ground with space combat? Are they minding not to end up with bullet sponge territory? So yeah, they don't want bullet sponge. I mean, Theaters of War is going to be a good test bed for them to work out a lot of balance. But one of the ways they're going to be balancing it is that when you're in atmosphere, it's going to be more dangerous for ships. They're going to have to keep moving. There's a lot more problems with heat and thrust for them. So they're not going to just be able to super dominate everything, is the idea. But there'll be environmental effects, there'll be defenses, there'll be a lot of things that mean that ground gameplay is not just going to, as I say, be entirely dominated by aircraft. Do you think we'll see the Polaris or Precious within the next 2 patches or so? I think it's middle of next year sort of territory. Do you think they will add a new consumable on 3.14? I'm thinking pie. What? You want nom nom nom? Should see some new consumables coming though, with medical gameplay coming in 3.14. What will the player count be for the entire standard system after server mission? We don't know. They want it to be potentially everyone, but at least thousands. But first stage server meshing though, it's probably not going to be thousands. It'll be maybe up to 1,000. That would be my expectation. We'll have to wait and see. Do you think Theaters of War will preclude Star Marine and Marine Commander and eventually be removed? No. I think they'll be their own things as well, sort of all as part of that, but individually. So you can just do Arena Commander, you can just do Star Marine, or you can do Theatres of War combined. I mean, they might merge them all into Theatres of War. I wouldn't expect so. It's all electronic access. Or, I know this is a bit of a niche question, but do you think the gap between the Misc Razor X, which is based off a racer, but supposed to be a stealth fighter, has too much of a grab from its 2 size 2s compared to the even starter ships like the Mustang Alpha? So far, the only use I've found for it is getting a jump on people in the Huston bunker because it's so small. The stealth is good. So in the future, you're going to be able to use it to literally spy on people. You're going to be able to use it to track people and that sort of stuff, doing reconnoitering. And there's going to be reasons to be stealthy, reasons to be hiding nearby but not actually engage. But you don't really have them yet. What will the next Jesus Tech buzzword be? Hopefully people have realised there is no silver bullet in Star Citizen, and that the Jesus patches don't exist. They can certainly be, and now we've got to a stage where server meshing and pyro has come out and things like that. What do I think after server meshing? What do I think is going to be the buzzword? They'll probably focus on Squadron 42. Like they'll be talking about Squadron 42 lots. That's like a buzzword. Be multi-crew gameplay again and things like that. But they'll probably focus on more gameplay loops rather than individual buzzwords. Will we be able to manually remove our helmet and carry it instead of using the inner thought wheel? That is the plan, yes. There's going to have animations for that. They are building them now. What feature are you most looking forward to in Alpha 3.13 and why? Okay. So, more stuff just being working and being more accessible, for sure. There might be some cool bits that I can't talk about yet. On the roadmap and stuff that we're aware of, I really want to mess around with trolleys and push pull stuff. Ship to station docking's pretty cool. The tonk. I mean, there's lots of little bits. Has anyone mentioned there is slight static sound in your mic? That is, that's more my fans, I suspect. Are the plans to upgrade Inner Thought to not be so clunky? Well, they're upgrading the whole inventory system so that it's less Inner Thought driven and more physically driven. It's more physicalized stuff. And they're generally going to be improving the UI for Inner Thought systems as well. So I think we'll see 4.0 as the June patch of next year. It's my current theory. Question mark? The general AI behavior waiting for Quanta implementation for it to start having interaction with the environment, etc. No, not necessarily. I mean, they've been working on engineers and NPCs having more things that they do for their idols and when they're walking around and more jobs and stuff. It just takes them a long time to build it out. And there's a lot of Quanta implementation stuff that they want to do, but it's more... Quanta doesn't necessarily have to have the NPCs doing anything animation-wise. They can just have them doing stuff simulated. So... Do you know Star Citizen has the largest budget in video game history? That is a maybe. Well, it's split between two games, Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So, the two games, the biggest budget. And biggest budget, World of Warcraft still has the biggest budget of any video game in history. It depends on how you measure that, doesn't it? Like, I mean, it's probably made the most money of any video game ever. As well. But, because... they're still supporting World of Warcraft and building expansions for it. Do Do you know that Star Citizen is the game that's put the largest percentage of its money back from sales back into its development? I mean, it depends how you frame them, doesn't it, I suppose? You're right, Bob, mate. Hi, I'm new to Star Citizen. Tell me about it. What's it like? Is 6 studios enough to finish the game after 10 years of development? But the more studios they have, that it doesn't retroactively make them be able to go back in time and develop it. Hang on. Oh. No, Heavy Bob. They've got a large amount of developers now developing for Star Citizen. That is true. Is it enough to get the game finished? Yes, at some point. But because they don't have a publisher, because they are self-publishing, it is going to be very much done when it's done. They're taking their time because they can, and because they sort of want to. It is an incredibly slow development. It's part and parcel of it. Let's be real, 6 studios. Well, they could rename 4 of their studios just Cloud Imperium with 1 studio if they wanted to, but they're in different parts of the world. Yeah, so that's just 1 studio. Yeah, or is it 4? Because you divide. They could split up into 3,000. Well, no, maybe that would be a bit ridiculous. They could split it up to 1 studio per person. That's sort of irrelevant. It's the amount of people working on it, surely, rather than studios. So, do you count the Turbulent studio as an external studio? Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose you do. And do you count Turbulent as 1 or 2 studios? Because they've got the Star Citizen focused bit, but also they are working with Turbulent separately as well. FireSprite, it's only 10 people from FireSprite. Sort of irrelevant, the amount of studios. Do I think they should be working with contracted studios? I mean, the Eophonic stuff still is painful in my soul. Obviously, we haven't seen anything from Faceware, actually, with the Faceware camera. Although they might have worked a lot on VoIP and FoIP stuff, or FoIP at least, maybe. We haven't seen the sort of HOTAS and keyboard and stuff that they were going to make ages ago as well. So largely when they've worked with external studios, that hasn't gone too well, and that you've got to sort of remember that. But maybe FireSprite is a good choice. We don't know. Is it good for Theatres of War? Potentially, because I'd rather them be getting external help to do that and can constantly develop it to make sure it's not just canned and doesn't affect the development of Star Citizen and the persistent universe negatively. I don't want a huge portion of the devs working on Theatres of War when I think they should be working on the persistent universe and Squadron, yeah. So I'm sort of okay with them working with CIG, getting an external studio to do that. But that's just me sort of trying to rationalise that. I don't really know until I see a bit more. Obviously, I've been able to play in the Theatres of War playtests, and I'm actually quite excited for Theatres of War. But that's for my own sort of creative content creation reasons, and because I like that sort of quick loop sometimes. And because I know we're going to get it significantly before Star Citizen's in a more playable state for me to want to sit down and grind for hundreds of hours. Yeah. You've missed a studio out. You've missed a studio out, Heavy Bob. There's also a Derby, England studio as well. Not just England. There's a Wimslow, which is by Manchester, and there's the Derby studio as well. Already had some more studios on that. And they've had contractors as well beyond that with other studios and freelancers. So there is a lot more. There's loads. There's loads. It's to do with the people and outsourcing, though, isn't it? Let's be real. England is my city. Oh. Okay. Star Citizen needs to outsource every aspect to about 25 other studios, in my opinion. Oof. Then they can pass the blame for failure. Rough, dude. Any news on proximity voice over IP improvements? So they do like tweak these and try and get them into a working state. I'm not sure what we're going to be seeing in the near future, though. Critical questions the worst. No, you can. No. So people are more than willing, more than able, and I'm fine with people asking critical questions or whatever. But sometimes the answer is just it's not really that bad or that big a deal. Like, quite genuinely, there are lots of stuff to be critical about Star Citizen 4, including its long development cycle and that sort of stuff. But it's all stuff to maybe not be so angry about, or be like, well, like 6, 7, 8 studios. It doesn't matter how many studios have worked on it. It's a matter of people that have worked on it over time. And Star Citizen certainly has had its problems, especially pre 2015 or pre 2016, depending on how you look at that. With like with issues with studios and inefficiency and rescaling the game and all that sort of stuff, for sure. But I mean, be realistic about it and that sort of stuff. It's a slow development. It's going to be a slow development. What else have we got? Aside from having a medic on your team... Oh, no, I lost that. Aside from having a medic on your team, what value do you see coming from the upcoming medical gameplay, and how will hospitals be used? Perhaps for cybergenic implants? So, hospitals and clinics are going to be used for buying medical equipment, potentially getting medical missions. You obviously also be able to use them for respawning and for removing negative effects of dying or being injured or constantly dying and things like that. So there's going to be a few status and side effects and things like that for sure. Medical gameplay wise, you're going to see people start to be knocked over and bleeding out, and they can be stabilized, and they can be jabbed with medipens. You can jab other people with medipens or other drugs. You're going to be able to use medical guns with medic gel to help get people up and help heal them, even if it's temporary, stuff like that. Did my Vulture question get answered? Yes, I answered the Vulture question earlier. Has there ever been a mention of upgrades of the actual physical servers? How good are they really compared to other game servers? I don't know. I believe they're Amazon Web Servers server stuff, so they're incredibly scalable and they're pretty good. Do you think we'll eventually get a ship like a car wash? I think the repair ships will actually also be able to clean your ship. Because you are getting ship cleaning in 3.13. Has their new Gladius UI been integrated in 3.13? Can't talk about the specifics of a patch, unfortunately. Of Evocati stuff that's not public knowledge. Have you done a video on the Tobii Eye Tracker? Yes, you can check my channel out for it. I like them, but they're expensive. Are there any plans for a realistic damage model to the player that require a player to physically remove bullets, patches, gunshots, and wounds? There is going to be some physicalization of damage and a physical damage system. There is not going to be dismemberment, as far as I'm aware. There is going to be crippled and destroyed limbs, though. Is combination of Cutlass Black and Prospector a good combination for mining, refining, loop? Yes, you might want to put a rock in the back of your Cutlass. Did you know that Turbulent is also helping the Baldur's Gate 3 devs on their game? Oh, okay. No, I didn't. Can you give a too long didn't read on that project? I think Ilphonics, the company made, where the assets were too big, small. So, a long time ago, many moons ago, Cloud Imperium had a contract and were working with Ilphonic. Ilphonic, I believe, entirely separately from Cloud Imperium, or largely separately, were making the first-person shooter module for Star Citizen, because this is a long time ago, and Satterball, Ender's Game style game mode. So basically Star Marine and Satterball, and there weren't checks and balances. CIG weren't checking properly, and Ilphonic had made everything to 32-bit rather than 64-bit, I believe, but also the wrong scale, and it just was useless to them. So that was I mean, you can blame Milphonic, but I mean it's certainly up to Cloud Imperium to check that, and they didn't. And there could have been a lot of stuff solved. It basically delayed the project by a year, in my opinion. So they've been burnt by using other studios before. Hopefully that means that Cloud Imperium won't be as dumb as they were previously. I think CRG have been magnitudes better than they were previously, for sure. Hey, Bored, will you do content on other games in the future? Will it always be Squadron 42 and Star Citizen? It's going to be a huge portion of Star Citizen and Squadron 42, but I do other content already. Just very rarely. Sometimes you'll see me stream other games as well. I do like 7 Days to Die, I do lots of co-op survival games, done Rust, lots of stuff like that. Me and Zin are playing through Eco at the moment, and we are recording it. Do Apex Legends. PTU by the end of the week. Could see first wave PTU by the end of the week. Bored, do you remember when Eve came out in 2003? I mean, I'm playing Alpha and Eve. Any word on another Pillar Talk anytime soon? I don't know. I'm not sure why they sort of depreciated those. It could be because of Corona and issues with the office. Maybe. How much do you think Squadron 42 will be? It's available now to purchase. I think it'll be $60 once it's a fully fledged game, sold separately, properly. Can you give ATL? Sorry, we talked about that. Bored. I have to go back to work. Hope it's all as well with you. See you next stream. See you later, buddy. Will criminals respawn in a prison, hospital, or infirmary? So criminals will respawn based on what happens to them. Did they get caught? Did they get taken out by bounty hunter or security? That sort of stuff. So if they got taken out by security or a bounty hunter or whatever, they should spawn in prison. Is this sort of idea at the moment. If they round an asteroid, well, as long as they may very well get taken to a outpost in a neutral or outlaw zone. Yeah? Do you think Cloud Imperium will blame FireSprite if Theatres of War is poorly received? They shouldn't be able to. The Cloud Imperium are working with FireSprite, and they've basically absorbed the team currently. So it is Cloud Imperium's fault if Theatres of War is poorly received. Well, I mean, if their game's bad, I suppose is what I should say. It's not anyone's fault if it's poorly received, but if Theatres of War is bad, it's Cloud Imperium's fault. Yeah? At the end of your YouTube vids, you play a version of Chasing Stars, but I can't find it anywhere. What version is this? It's called Ordinary People, the audio that I play at the end, which is one of the tracks from Microtech. It's just the full track. I think Zin really likes it. I'm gonna clip that. Gonna hold on to it for safekeeping. Yeah, but I think I'm right. I mean, that's true. I mean, you can't argue. Oh well, FireSprite did something wrong. What? They are being advised and supervised by Sean Tracy, and a Star Citizen team is working with them. There's only 10 people from FireSprite working on Theatres of War. Yeah, 2. Are they planning to add a fast, small troop transport like a little bird for 6 people max? All other ships seem too big. Well, there's like the Valkyrie and the Vanguard. Pew pew pew. You got your Vanguard dropship. You got your Valkyrie dropship. Gonna catch you during a live stream. Thank you very much, Avenger. Having someone telling me to F off when I say hi, welcome to our server, isn't me hating critical questions. Okay, well, that's probably true. I don't mind people venting or talking about their experiences, or even being a bit sort of like sarcastic or whatever. It's not my job to defend Star Citizen. I love Star Citizen. I love the project. I love the community. And I think people are entitled to their opinions. Obviously, sometimes I see stuff as total trolling.
Can't stay for long as I have a therapist appointment in a few
Oh, Hexodus.
minutes. Hope you and Zin are getting on well, and let's hope that 3:13 comes sooner rather than later. Lastly, hoping your dad is doing good too. 33333.
Thank you very much, Hexodus Live. I appreciate the love. I hope you're doing well, sir. Yeah, me and Zian are doing well. Got our birthdays later this week. 3.13, I'm hoping we get first wave PTU by the end of the week, maybe, question mark. Hope it goes well with your therapist. Nate, I'm bipolar, and I've got a terrible anxiety. I'm like crippling anxiety sometimes, and then other times it's totally manageable. So I hope you're doing well, sir. If it is one bad, it is CRG's fault, indeed. What else we got? Yeah, that's not a planet. It's Gaini. It's the 1A. It's the moon of Odin 1, which Odin 1 doesn't exist anymore because it's become the coil and it was exploded. Sort of like it's a rogue moon now, or rogue planet. Does it matter? Does it matter? Does it become a rogue planet when it's rogue? Bear with me 1 second. Good, fine. Just me moving around my room. Bloody. Who's flying the ship? Do you think the base building will come soon? So, no, not soon. They're building the new points of interest, the sort of homesteads. Well, the colonial homesteads, the colonial outposts. They're going to have habs in there as well that the players can spawn there and maybe customize some bits there. You might see some physicalized habs in the near future, so that you can customize them more fully. But actual base building, they're looking at it. They're working on some bits for it, but I think it's a while out. Are you looking forward to flying around the new asteroids in 3.13? Yes, indeed. It should be a good laugh. To see what's sort of new with that. We've got the Valkyrie is a little bird. Well, I mean, it's big, but it's got people in it. People in it. The Vanguard's pretty small for. Any word on the Drake Vulture? No. So obviously they did talk a bit more about it being hull stripping. It was the Tier 0 salvage implementation that they want to have later this year. Does that mean we're going to get the Vulture soon afterwards? We don't know. Now that ship-to-station docking is on the horizon, do you think the Hull C will be implemented? I mean, yes, at some point. They're working on the Hull A and B as well. I do think we'll see the Hull C later this year. That's my expectation, even if it's just on a gameplay demo. So it's the morphing, the physics changes, and the cargo grid stuff that's causing it to be delayed. It's basically what Cloud Imperium said, sort of. And they're working on it. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any interesting gameplay associated with those new caves in 3.13. No. Wreck's going to be able to be used, as far as I'm aware, on Star Marine, Arena Commander, and Theatres of War. You should get a good amount of tweaks to the flight model and bug fixes for space speed bumps, etc. And some desync jank. How can player habs ever be safe? So ones in major cities, like they'll be pretty safe, if not almost entirely super safe. Ones that you like player base ones, well, maybe they're not supposed to be truly safe. What is in the works for large gameplay that isn't actually broken in this? Anything? I don't know what you mean by that. The large gameplay loops won't be broken once they're finished, but it is alpha for a reason. I mean, once it's not alpha, they won't be broken. Let's hope they're not. Obviously, mining is probably the most streamlined gameplay loop. Then it'll be medical and salvage / repair coming next. Bounty hunting is pretty good with the reputation system. Like it's not bounty hunting; it's combat missions, isn't it? I mean, they work. We often, so major patches will often see a surprise or revealed straight to flyable ship or vehicle or a few. So expect that throughout this year. Are you playing right now? No. This is the Squadron 42 vertical slice. I think the Orion will be in the next big ship. No, I think the Orion and the Endeavour are some of the furthest away ships. What's Santa getting you on your birthday? I don't know. I don't really superly celebrate stuff like that. I'll have a nice takeaway. I'll have a few beers. I'll see if there's anything silly that I want VR-wise. Do you think we will need to recharge the Titan suits? So, one of the, I believe, that on the the dropship module for the Retaliator, wasn't there supposed to be a recharge station for the Titans? I might have dreamt that, but I think you do have to charge them. Well, you can charge them, is probably a better way of saying it. Is Cloud Imperium ever going to finish the freelancers they started, as only keep playing with their new toys instead? I'm sorry, I'm confused by that question. I apologise. Do I think the freelancer will get some tweaks? They'll get some tweaks. All ships will be tweaked because they need to obviously physicalize the components, do the physical damage system, do lots and lots of tweaks and optimizations for them before the game's done. Materials updates, lighting updates, control surfaces. Please explain how the ship which creates buildings will work. Will it allow you to actually make settlements? So, we don't know anymore. Originally, the Pioneer was going to be an outpost creator. Literally build the outposts that you can sort of have in-game at the moment and place them. And those outposts could have multiple functions, from like mining to power to living to crafting, lots of different things that it was going to potentially be able to do. Now they've said, actually, the Pioneer, this base building, outpost building ship, is actually now going to be a mobile factory, and base building is going to be much more expansive than originally. So, and you won't need a Pioneer to build a base. However, it will allow you to build more and more quickly and more efficiently and that sort of stuff. So, beyond that, we don't really know. What about box physics? Will they fix this? Yes. I mean, you'll start to see better and better physicalization of cargo and containers that will be less janky. Have we got any information about RSI on the 400i, or did I miss something? So there's no proper Star Citizen official statements on the 400i yet. I do expect it to be a ship in game at some point, and it to be probably a Origin constellation, basically. Do you think development and additions of new features will speed up, slow down, or remain as is? I think stuff's speeding up and will speed up more, especially with some of those core engine improvements, the Gen 12 renderer, server meshing, some of the gameplay loops starting to actually come together. I mean, then they can, and all the tools needed to actually build out gameplay areas. I mean, obviously they've got studios now like Turbulent focusing on gameplay area, so literally building out planets and moons and all that sort of stuff, and the star map, and so yeah, I would expect to see a lot more content a lot more quickly. Well, I mean, a lot more quicker, but significantly quicker. There was a rumor of a rear module Titan suit bay and charger from Ben a long while back. I mean, it's possible that we'll see that in the future once we have the Titan suits. Starting my own Star Citizen YouTube, was wondering if you needed permission from CIG to use any of their footage used for B-roll. So if you check on the website, there's two things. You can probably just Google it. There's a fan sort of terms of service that allows you to use at their discretion, so they can withdraw it at any time, basically, their gameplay assets, their footage, their music and that sort of stuff, for fan content creation, which you are allowed to then monetize. Well, monetize, YouTube monetization. You're not allowed to then sell their art and stuff like that, but YouTube monetization of videos is fine. And you can, if you ever have a problem with copyright or whatever, you can link that. So check that out and read it. There is two. There's a fan one and general terms as well that I found. Be careful though, because some of the footage that Cloud Imperium use is other people's footage. And so, like for example, I use a load of Mr. Haskah's screenshots, but I've asked him, is it right if I use your screenshots? The thumbnails and things. But CIG use footage from other people as well, and it's at least good etiquette to ask those people as well. With the changes made to the Consolidated Outline Pioneer, what function do you think the Endeavour will fulfill? It's a science ship. It's a modular science ship. It does a load of different purposes, from lots of researching and sciencey stuff to crafting, to spotting points of interest and researching them, getting data on them, to farming. There's a huge amount of stuff. When will we see more optimization in the PTU? Should see more optimization from patch to patch, quite genuinely, and also the Gen 12 renderer stuff and Vulkan integration I'm expecting this year. Just watch your medpen video. Do you think it will allow us to carry more than 2 medpens? Oh, are they going to be based on attachment points or not? I don't know. Yeah, I suspect you'll be able to actually have them in your inventory now. I just upgraded from an Avenger Titan to an Andromeda. Do I just load up the game and my hangar will be updated? As long as you've applied it in the hangar on the RSI website, yes. To apply the upgrade. Right. Is there any news on controlling ship states and deploying through MFDs? So they talked about it briefly and said, well, okay, so we've got the ability to, in 3.13, dock and undock the P-52, and if you own the constellation you're docking with, then it will just auto-accept the dock. If you try to dock with one you don't own, it it will request the owner will go, yes, you can dock, no, you can't. So that means that's sort of semi-remote. Will we have the ability to like remotely open doors and stuff on the Carrack when you're coming back with your shuttle? I would hope so. I think that's probably what the plan is. I've never seen this planet before. How do we get there? So this is the Squadron 42 vertical slice. That's Gainey 1A. That's a moon that was around Odin 1 before Odin 1 exploded. Will Pyro be the greatest gibboning? I mean, in the short term, yeah. Speaking about modularity, any news about the Caterpillar and the charging bay and weapons? No, we haven't had any ideas about the Caterpillar modules yet. They need to talk more about them. I suspect they'll talk a lot about it after we get the Retaliators modules in 3.14, or at least that's where it's currently focused. Since the Xenothreat Dynamic event had very many AI-controlled turrets, am I crazy to think that AI blades for player-controlled ships might come sooner rather than later? I mean, they're working on AI blades. We could see some AI blades in the not-too-distant future. Do you know anything more about the move from DirectX? Yet moving to Vulkan, it should see hardware neutrality and much greater optimizations and much better sort of resource management. More frames. Prettier and more frames. At least eventually. Any graphical settings I could turn off to improve FPS? Yes, in lovely resolution. You can turn the graphics settings down. You can make your own user.cfg. Is there news on controlling ship states? Talked about that. Will CIG divert resources back to the Persistent Universe when Squadron 42 is released? So, I suspect they will go from Squadron 42, Episode 1, to working on the Persistent Universe and some core engine stuff and some updates, and then, quite soon after, move some of the team onto Squadron 42, Episode 2. I also suspect that before that, there'll be a little bit of optimization and bug fixing stuff that the team will work on briefly as well. What happened to the VTOL feature? Actually, VTOL that the Kaito Al has. What? So the Kaito Al moves differently because it's got like articulated thruster rigs. The Kaito Al and the Santok Yai, they are going to fly like that, and just give them some time to rejig them properly for the flight model in atmosphere. Is there any? There's no new news on flight control services, but they should be seeing some additional work this year. You know that the noise gate on your mic's high. I didn't really. It's sort of. It's because of where my computer's now positioned. I moved it earlier. That's my bad. I will sort it out. When is Tony Z doing the presentation? And what do you think he'll cover? Updates to the quantum system. So there's a lot of changes and updates, and it does a lot more, and it tracks a lot more in different ways. It's going to be lighter weight as well. So, yeah, updates to the quantum system. I'd expect it around the 7th of August-ish time is probably when they planned it, when they sort of like had a rough idea for CitizenCon in their mind. Obviously, we might not see a physical CitizenCon event this year, but I do expect them to do something for CitizenCon. And obviously, the 7th of August is when they had the LA Convention Center booked. Or provisionally booked. How you doing today, Bod? I'm alright. Need a painkiller. I've got a bit of a pain in my side. I want to have some food as well. I'm going to dash off in a second. How long do you think it will take for a refresher to be done to the old ships and stations to bring them up to the standard of Microtech? They'll do it iteratively. It will take a while, but I mean, they get a lot of it done this year. After Vulkan support is done, will we start having Linux builds as well? I don't know. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I mean, Vulkan is supported by Linux, so... Right. I'm going to dash off. I'll answer a couple more questions while I'm working out who I'm going to who to host. So I won't go just yet. I'll answer a couple more questions. Who is actually online? I will choose someone pretty randomly and we'll host them in a minute. Do you think they will have a co-op mode for Squadron 42? They sort of originally said they were going to, and then they basically said, nah, it's a single-player game, but you might be able to play some of the missions in Squadron 42 co-op afterwards, so that might mean that they'll appear in Theatres of War or Arena Commander or something. So I don't think it will be co-op anymore, which is a shame. I know you're under NDA, so you might not be able to answer this. How stable does the current Evocati build for 3.13 compared to other Evocati builds? It's hard to sort of say. Partly because I'm NDA'd. Any updates on server meshing? We talked about it earlier, Simon. Obviously, Cloud Imperium are working towards server meshing and the streaming persistent stuff. We should see some more on that later this year. Lots of the features and optimizations that they're bringing into the game now are built with server meshing in mind and have some bits of iCache and server meshing in them. Do you know any healthy snacks? Well, it depends on what you're on. I'm on keto at the moment. So peanut butter with no sugar in it, and almonds is pretty good for a snack. Fat bombs, I think they're called. Are there plans to add roads on Microtech? So we're expecting to see roads and rivers at some point in the future, but to exactly what extent and where they're going to be, we don't know yet. Does Microtech need roads? Probably not. It's probably okay with tram system and that sort of stuff, but other planets probably do need roads. Right. I am going to dash off. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for asking lots of questions and listening to my answers for them, such as they were. Who we got? It's like a VTuber. I'm gonna. Should we get? I'm gonna raid this VTuber. SG Marcus. I'm sorry if this is madness. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much for the birthday money. Very much appreciated. Nova Tonk, giving 25 subs. That is very appreciated. Hexus Live, thanks for the sub. The Duxty, Andrew Higginbottom, Red Fox, the Hagshack. Thanks. I love you all. It's very much appreciated. You all stars. Tumble Nova, you're a monster. Love you, lads. Thanks very much for watching. You take care. There'll be probably another video coming out later today, probably. Yeah. Hope we'll see 3.13 later today. Peace. Kisses and give SG Marcus some love. I hope it's not monstrous. Oh, it's going to be monstrous, isn't it? What have I done?